All right, welcome to the Hodgepodge Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Dylan Hodge. But you guys already know that I am on Instagram and I am on Twitter. And I am Mr. Dylan Hodge. You can follow the podcast too on Instagram at the Hodgepodge Podcast. Just know that I'm not always on there. Last post was probably 6-7 months ago. I'm trying to figure out a way to get back over there. If you're listening on iTunes or iHeartRadio, Spotify, stuff like that, go ahead and give me a 5-star review, please. It helps me grow on the podcast. It helps me get bigger and better guests every week, which we have some cool ones coming up. But before we get into the meat of the dinner here for the podcast, before we get to the introduction for the guest, I want to talk about something that I was very, very, very excited for. I don't know if I was excited for it. I say very, very excited. I was very, very interested in what they were going to do with the Friends reunion. I'm recording this right after I watched it, and I watched it the day it came out on Thursday. And so it is like 9 o'clock here, 9:30. So I really, really, really loved the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion. I loved how they did it. I loved everything about the Fresh Prince reunion. And I was like, okay, HBO Max, you've got me. If you can do the Friends reunion just like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion, good for you. Then you've got my money's worth, and I will continue to subscribe. Well, it starts out kind of interesting. It starts out, man. Okay, I'm a pissed off Friends fan right now. The show was nothing like I wanted it to be. They were targeting the Friends reunion as only a true fan will watch. Okay, here's my problems with the show. The show starts out kind of when, and spoiler alert here if you haven't seen the Friends reunion, which I'm really not giving anything away, nothing happens. It starts out where they're coming back and they are reliving seeing each other for the first time since 2004. And they look at the sets and they do all this, and I'm like, if this is the entire reunion, I love this. I love what they're going to do. I love it. And then they go to James Corden. Good God. So they're in front of a live audience, taking questions from the audience about Friends. I didn't see anywhere in the news where they were taking Ellen off of Friends reunion. Don't know where she at, where she is, where she went, what happened. All I know is James Corden's there, and I'm like, what the fuck happened to Ellen? So after that, it's kind of a mishmash of everything all together in one. And so it's kind of hard to go from here to here because it's just all over the place. Two things about the reunion. Well, there's a few things I hated about the show. I did not like that they were in front of an audience and taking questions from the audience. I would prefer it if whoever was hosting it, James Corden, they were sitting inside Central Perk, the coffee shop, and they were chatting about, their lives and what they think would happen. Because we knew from the beginning that they were not going to play their characters and stuff like. I'll get to how I think they should have done the reunion here in a bit. But so we see I don't want to talk about it. I'm a pissed off Friends fan because I am morbidly mad about this. And so it flashes back between, the creators of the show, and they're talking about the show, which I hated, because if you're going to target it as only a mega Friends fan is going to watch, then you already know all this stuff. You've seen all the documentaries. You've seen all the biographies. You've read the books. You've seen behind the scenes of the DVDs if you have them, or the Blu-rays. You know all of this. So there is no point in saying, oh, well, I knew they wanted David Schwimmer as Ross, and they were not going to go forward with the show unless they had David Schwimmer as Ross. Everybody that is a friend, that is fans of Friends, knew this. They knew this. They knew how the show started. They knew how they got each and every cast member. They knew that. They knew Leah Remini from The King of Queens almost got the Monica part from Courtney Cox. We knew that. Everybody fucking knew that. We knew of Matthew Perry's painkiller addiction. We knew of this. We knew every bit of this. If you're a true Friends fan, try saying that 10 times fast. If you're a true Friends fan and you watched this, you were probably as disappointed as I was. I didn't need to see how the show was created again. I didn't need to see... Now, there were a few things, like when they were talking about certain episodes, how they listened to the audience. I loved that. I enjoyed that. Because some of that I knew, some of it I didn't know. So that was cool. But they spent 25 minutes of the show just talking about how the show was created, which we should already know if we're big Friends fans. That's my only complaint with it. Also, I did not like I said, the James Corden thing, sitting down in front of a live audience, taking questions. I did not like that at all. I did not like the celebrities coming on camera and talking about what Friends means to them. I don't need that. I don't want that. I don't care if David Beckham's a fan. Now, it was cool to see Reese Witherspoon, who did play Rachel's sister in the earlier episodes, to come in and talk about her experience and how that morphed her as an actress. I like that. I enjoyed seeing Tom Selleck come back. I enjoyed seeing the Gellers' mom and dad there. I enjoyed that. But I don't think it had to be, I didn't think it needed to be what it was. It was trying too hard because, and I hate to say this, and I don't want people to think I'm being a jerk by saying this, but I think each member was there just for the money. They didn't care about the show, which they've already said that they didn't want to come back. Matthew Perry didn't want to come back. Understandable, sure. But don't do it just because someone is pestering you. Just say, hey, we're not going to do a Friends reunion. Leave me alone. It didn't work for Fuller House when they tried to do a reunion show and create a whole new show in the process. It didn't work. Roseanne didn't work. And then the Connors, I don't know if it's working. I stopped watching. I got confused. There were some cool moments from Friends, the reunion. And here are some of those. I loved when it was just the original cast together and they were on the sound stage and they were in the living room and they were in Joanne Chandler's room. I loved that because then they were talking about, oh, do you remember this episode here? They were reminiscing, and I loved it because I could reminisce with them. They felt like my friends in the 94 show and then now in the 2021 show. I loved it. I enjoyed that so much. I also enjoyed when, if you remember, in earlier episodes with the board and Chandler and Joey were facing off against Monica and Rachel, and Ross was asking questions based on each person, each character, right, in the show. They reimagined that and they put it on a board together and they asked questions from the show to the... Oh my God, that I was like, okay, if this is it the whole time, because they introduced that like 10 minutes in the show, and I was like, if this is the whole thing, I'm effing in love with this reunion. It's better than the Fresh Prince. No. Now, they did show some behind-the-scenes stuff that, like, when Chandler dislocated his shoulder, they showed the film of that's never before been seen. In any of even the leaked footage that has never been showed. I've never seen it before, and I've watched all of the leaked footage from like on YouTube. I've never seen an episode that part before. So that one was cool. Now I'm gonna tell you, the ending was okay, but I don't like the freaking. Oh, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I didn't really care for it. There were some parts that were really cool and very reminiscent. But I just feel like I was watching a biography. Like the A&E show Biography. I felt like I was watching one of those. And they were just incorporating the cast in it. I felt that's what it was. You could call it a reunion because they are reuniting after what? For 17 years? But I don't know. I'm really upset. I was chatting with one of my friends, and they were like, "Why in the world are you getting so upset over this?" And I'm like, honestly, I don't know. But because Friends is so iconic in the world, and it's so personal in my life, and so hits me hard in my life, that I feel that Friends had to have this I guess I held it to a higher standard than what it should have been. And I'll tell you what it should have been. Here is what, if I was pitching this to the original 6, here's what I'd say. Hey guys, look. I know you don't want to be Ross, Rachel, Joey, Chandler, Monica, Phoebe. I know you don't want to be that. But here's what we can do. How about you be these characters, but we're not having a script? And it's not in front of a live audience. James Corden or Ellen, who I originally thought it was, exists in this Friends world in New York City. Because George Stephanopoulos existed, if you guys remember. James Corden exists in this world, this Friends world, right? You all come together. You all parted ways after the final episode of Friends. They all parted ways. They're coming together again for the first time as friends after being, kind of discombobulated. They kind of went their separate ways and never really reunited. You can come up with a storyline about that. And then you could say, you could sit Jennifer Aniston down and be like, "You're Rachel, David Schwimmer's Ross. Talk about what has happened since you left your friends. Do you have any more kids? Are you divorced? How is Emma doing? Is Emma here? How is that?" Then get Phoebe over here, Phoebe and Mike. Bring Paul Rudd back. How are you guys doing? You guys have any kids? Because you wanted one at the final season. Don't know if you have one. How are you doing? Get Joey here after his failed acting career happened. What's he doing now? Is he still an actor? Has he made it big? Then you're going to go to Monica and Chandler. How are the twins doing? Are you divorced? Ross and Rachel, did you ever get married? What has happened since then? What has happened? Please. They could have won a good... If the show would have been 22 minutes, a regular 30-minute episode of Friends, and they did just that, I would have no problem with it. I would love that. I would love it. I would love it. I would love it. But the fact that they just took the characters and they were themselves and they were kind of talking about what they were doing in their personal life. We know that. I don't care. I can Wikipedia it right now and figure out what Jennifer Aniston did. She's played in a lot of movies. She's freaking rich. She's the Neutrogena chick. I know what David Schwimmer's done. He's played in Madagascar. Anything would have been better than that Friends reunion. And I love Friends. God, it holds a special place in my heart. All 90 shows that I grew up with hold a special place in my heart. But Friends just hits different. And I will not hold the reunion to the original show because it wasn't an episode. But man, this was not what I wanted. This is not what I expected. I hope you guys liked it better than I did, because I don't want to tell you to go watch it and it just be as bad as I said it is. I'm going to give it I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5. I didn't like it really at all. The only reason I give it so high is because I enjoyed the things when they were reminiscing and, they were talking about the certain scenes, the certain episodes. I loved that. I didn't like that they were sitting down with James Corden in front of an audience taking questions. I didn't like the producers coming on and doing a background on the show, which we already knew. So, besides that, how you doing? How you doing? Welcome to the show today. Thank you guys for being here.